So it did take a bit of time for us to get to know each other. But we did become, very close friends from quite early on. There's a story. Breaking news from Buckingham Palace has just shattered the calm of the British monarchy. What was supposed to be a routine announcement has turned into something far more devastating. The confirmation we've all been dreading about Catherine, Princess of Wales, has finally arrived, and the implications are staggering. The announcement that changed everything. The ornate gates of Buckingham Palace have witnessed countless historic moments, but few compared to what unfolded just moments ago. At precisely 11:45 this morning, the Palace Press Office released a statement that has sent shockwaves through the United Kingdom and across the world. The words, carefully crafted yet devastatingly clear, confirmed what many had feared but hoped against. Catherine, Princess of Wales, the woman who has become the very embodiment of modern royal grace and resilience, faces a battle far more serious than anyone had publicly acknowledged. The statement, released through official channels and immediately picked up by every major news organization, revealed that Catherine's health situation has taken an unexpected and deeply concerning turn. While the palace had previously announced in March of 2024 that Catherine was undergoing preventative chemotherapy following abdominal surgery, today's announcement paints a far graver. The cancer, which was discovered during that initial surgery in January, has proven more aggressive than initially believed. Medical experts advising the royal household have recommended an extended and intensified treatment protocol, one that will require Catherine to step back completely from public duties for an indefinite period. Royal correspondent Jonathan Sashidoti was among the first to break down the implications on live television. His voice, usually measured and professional, carried an unmistakable weight as he explained that the language used in palace statements is never accidental. Every word is scrutinized, debated, and approved at the highest levels. When the palace uses terms like extended treatment and indefinite period, they're signaling something far more serious than a temporary setback. This isn't about taking a few months off to recover from routine procedures. This is about a woman in her early 40s fighting for her life while trying to protect her 3 young children from the full horror of what their mother is enduring. Within minutes of the announcement, social media erupted. Twitter, now known as X, saw Catherine's name trending worldwide. The hashtag Pray for Catherine climbed to number 1 in over 50 countries. Instagram posts from royal fan accounts garnered millions of views within the first hour. But beyond the social media frenzy, something more profound was happening. People who had never particularly cared about the monarchy found themselves moved by the tragedy unfolding. Here was a woman who had done everything right, who had devoted herself to public service, who had raised her children with remarkable normalcy despite their extraordinary circumstances, now facing every parent's worst nightmare. The timing of this announcement is particularly cruel. Just last month, Catherine had made what many believed was a triumphant return to public life. Appearing at the Remembrance Day service at the Senate, she stood on the balcony, impeccably dressed in black, her composure absolute. To the watching world, she appeared to be on the mend, gradually returning to health after her difficult year. Behind the scenes, however, a very different reality was unfolding. Medical scans performed in late November revealed complications that no one had anticipated. The cancer cells, which doctors had hoped were completely eliminated, had shown signs of activity in areas that filled the medical team with dread. Palace insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, have painted a picture of organized chaos in the hours leading up to today's announcement. Senior royals were informed late last night during emergency meetings. King Charles himself, still managing his own cancer diagnosis, revealed earlier this year, was said to be devastated. Prince William, who has been Catherine's rock throughout this ordeal, had to be the one to make the final decision about going public with the full truth. The alternative, continuing to maintain the facade that everything was progressing normally, had become untenable. Medical realities have a way of forcing hands, and the royal family's hand has been forced in the most heartbreaking way possible. Catherine's journey through the shadows. To understand the full weight of today's announcement, we must go back to where this nightmare began. January the 16th, 2024 was supposed to be a day like any other in the carefully choreographed life of the Princess of Wales. Instead, it marked the beginning of a journey through darkness that Catherine could never have imagined. The planned abdominal surgery, described at the time as successful and for a non-cancerous condition, revealed something far more sinister. During the procedure at the London Clinic, one of Britain's most prestigious private hospitals, surgeons discovered abnormalities that demanded immediate biopsy. The results, delivered days later, changed everything. Cancer, the word that strikes fear into the hearts of millions, was now part of Catherine's reality. But this wasn't just any diagnosis. The specific type and location, details the palace has carefully guarded, suggested a particularly aggressive form that required immediate and intensive treatment. Medical experts speaking generally about such cases explain that when cancer is discovered incidentally during surgery for other issues, it often means the disease has been silently progressing undetected. This silent progression is what makes it so dangerous. Catherine's decision to undergo preventative chemotherapy, announced to the world in that emotional video message released in March, was framed as a precautionary measure. She spoke with characteristic dignity, explaining that while the surgery had been successful, tests had revealed the presence of cancer, and her medical team had recommended chemotherapy as the best course forward. What she didn't say, what she couldn't say without causing panic, was that her doctors were deeply concerned about microscopic disease that might have already spread beyond the surgical site. The chemotherapy regimen Catherine endured was brutal. Friends close to the family have quietly shared that the side effects were far worse than anyone anticipated. The nausea, the fatigue, the hair loss that she managed to conceal with expert styling and wigs during her brief public appearances. Each cycle of treatment left her weaker. Yet, she persisted with the same determination that has defined her approach to royal life. She wanted to beat this. She needed to beat this. George, Charlotte, and Louis needed their mother. Throughout the spring and summer of 2024, Catherine largely disappeared from public view. The rare photographs released by Kensington Palace showed a woman trying to maintain normally for her children. Birthday portraits, casual family snapshots, carefully curated moments designed to reassure the public that the princess was on the mend. But those who knew how to read between the lines saw troubling signs. The weight loss was noticeable. The careful positioning and photographs to hide the toll treatment was taken. The cancellation of appearances at events she would have normally attended without question. By September, when Catherine released a video announcing the completion of her chemotherapy, there was cautious optimism. She spoke of relief, of looking forward to undertaking more public engagements, of the light at the end of the tunnel. The family footage showed her laughing with William and their children in the Norfolk countryside. It seemed like a victory lap, a triumphant declaration that she had beaten the odds. Medical professionals watching that video, however, noted the careful language. She said her chemotherapy had ended, not that she was cancer-free. She spoke of a new phase of recovery, not of being cured. These distinctions matter enormously. The autumn brought what seemed like a gradual return to royal duties. Catherine appeared at Wimbledon in July, a brief but significant public outing. She attended the remembrance service in November, standing with the dignity and grace that has become her hallmark. Each appearance was carefully managed, her schedule meticulously planned to accommodate her energy levels. What the public didn't know was that behind each of these appearances were extensive medical consultations, careful monitoring, and growing concern among her doctors. The scans that should have shown clear progress instead revealed shadows, small areas of concern that required additional imaging, further tests, biopsies that brought back results no one wanted to see. By late November, Catherine's medical team was faced with an agonizing reality. The cancer wasn't gone. It was adapting, evolving, finding ways to persist despite the aggressive treatment she had already endured. New treatment protocols would be necessary, more intensive, more experimental, more uncertain in their outcomes. Throughout all of this, Catherine has maintained a strength that borders on superhuman. Those who have spent time with her during this ordeal speak of a woman determined not to be defined by her illness. She continues to be involved in her charitable work, albeit behind the scenes. She reads every letter sent by well-wishers. She participates in decisions about her children's education and activities. She supports William as he navigates his own increased responsibilities, while watching his wife battle for her life. But the toll is undeniable. This is a fight that tests not just physical strength, but mental and emotional reserves that no one should have to draw upon. Behind palace walls, the golden facade of royal life has always concealed private struggles, but rarely has the contrast between public image and private reality been so stark. Behind the palace walls, the Wales family has been living through every family's worst nightmare. Amplified by the unique pressures of their position, Prince William, the future king, has found himself playing a role no preparation could have equipped him for. The primary caregiver and emotional anchor for a wife facing a life-threatening illness, while trying to shield 3 young children from the full horror of their mother's condition. William's transformation over these past 11 months has been nothing short of remarkable. The prince, who once seemed content to let Catherine handle much of the family's day-to-day organization, has become intimately involved in every aspect of their children's lives: morning routines, school runs, homework help, bedtime stories. He has taken on these responsibilities while simultaneously managing his own expanding royal duties and dealing with the emotional devastation of watching the woman he loves fight for her life. Friends describe him as operating on autopilot, going through the motions of each day while internally terrified of what the future might hold. The children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, have been carefully sheltered from the full extent of their mother's illness, but they're not oblivious. George, at 11 years old, understands more than his parents realize. He's seen his mother's exhaustion, noticed when she's too weak to do activities they used to enjoy together. Charlotte, 9, has become almost protective of Catherine, wanting to help in ways that break her parents' hearts. And Louis, just 6, knows something is wrong, even if he can't fully articulate what that something is. The family has sought guidance from child psychologists about how to navigate these conversations, how to be honest without terrifying them, and how to prepare them for possibilities no child should have to consider. Lamrook School, where all 3 children attend, has been informed of the situation and has provided additional support discreetly. Teachers have been briefed on behavioral changes to watch for signs that the children might be struggling more than they're letting on at home. The school community, known for its discretion and respect for privacy, has rallied around the Wales children without making them feel different or singled out. It's a delicate balance, one that requires constant communication between the school and Kensington Palace. Meanwhile, King Charles finds himself in the uniquely painful position of dealing with his own cancer diagnosis while watching his daughter-in-law, a woman he has come to regard as a true daughter, face an even more serious battle. King's cancer, discovered in February during treatment for an enlarged prostate, has required ongoing treatment but has been deemed manageable. His doctors have been cautiously optimistic about his prognosis, but learning of Catherine's deteriorating condition has taken a visible toll on the monarch. He has increased his private visits to Adelaide Cottage, spending time with William and the children, offering whatever support and wisdom he can provide. The dynamic between Charles and William during this crisis has revealed the strength of their relationship. Gone are the tensions that sometimes characterize their interactions in years past. Father and son have found common ground in shared adversity. They speak daily, often multiple times, comparing notes on treatments, sharing fears they can't voice to others, supporting each other through the loneliness that comes with carrying the weight of monarchy during personal crisis. Charles has also ensured that William is gradually taking on more responsibilities, preparing him for the possibility that circumstances might accelerate the timeline of succession in ways no one wants to contemplate. Queen Camilla has emerged as an unexpected pillar of strength. Her own experience watching her first husband and several close friends battle serious illnesses has given her a perspective that others lack. She understands the exhaustion, the fear, the guilt that comes with being the healthy one while someone you love suffers. Camilla has spent considerable time with Catherine, not talking about illness or treatment, but simply being present. They've developed a bond that transcends their official relationship, finding solace in shared understanding of what it means to love men who carry the weight of monarchy. The broader royal family has closed ranks in a way rarely seen. Princess Anne, known for her no-nonsense approach and relentless work ethic, has quietly taken on additional engagements to ease the burden on Charles and William. Prince Edward and Sophie, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, have increased their public appearances, and have been particularly supportive behind the scenes, offering practical help and emotional support. Even the traditionally more distant royal cousins have reached out, offering whatever assistance they can provide. But perhaps the most poignant aspect of this crisis has been the response of those who have lived through similar royal tragedies. The parallels to Princess Diana's struggles, though different in nature, haven't been lost on anyone. William's determination to protect Catherine and their children from the media circus that consumed his mother's life has intensified. He has taken personal control of information release, insisted on privacy for medical appointments, and made it clear that boundaries around his family are non-negotiable. The trauma of his childhood has informed every decision he's made during this crisis, for better or worse. The medical reality. To truly grasp the severity of today's announcement, we must delve into the medical realities Catherine faces, understanding that while the palace has not disclosed specific details, the language and context provide significant clues. Cancer in women. Catherine's age, particularly when discovered during surgery for seemingly unrelated issues, often involves gynecological or gastrointestinal systems. The aggressive nature, suggested by the need for preventative chemotherapy followed by extended intensive treatment, indicates a disease that has proven resistant to initial therapeutic approaches. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, an oncologist at Royal Marsden Hospital who has not treated Catherine, but speaks generally about such cases, explains that when cancer requires multiple treatment protocols, it suggests either a particularly aggressive cell type or disease that has shown capacity to evade initial treatments. Modern chemotherapy is remarkably effective for many cancers, but some cell types develop resistance mechanisms, essentially learning to survive despite the toxic environment created by chemotherapy drugs. When this happens, oncologists must pivot to alternative approaches, often combining different chemotherapy agents, adding targeted therapies, or considering immunotherapy options. The preventative chemotherapy Catherine completed likely consisted of multiple cycles administered over several months. Each cycle involves receiving powerful drugs designed to kill any remaining cancer cells, followed by a recovery period where the body rebuilds strength before the next round. The side effects, nausea, fatigue, hair loss, compromised immune function, increased infection risk are challenging enough, but it's the psychological toll that often proves hardest. Knowing that poison is coursing through your veins, killing the bad cells, but also affecting healthy ones, hoping that you're doing enough, but never having certainty until follow-up scans are completed. Those follow-up scans, typically done at 3-month intervals after chemotherapy completion, are make or break moments. Patients wait in agonizing anticipation for results that will either confirm remission or reveal that more treatment is necessary. For Catherine, the scans performed in late November revealed the latter. Imaging showed either new areas of concern or growth in regions that should have been clear. This finding necessitated additional biopsies to understand exactly what was happening at a cellular level. The results of those biopsies inform today's announcement. When cancer recurs or proves persistent despite initial treatment, the calculus changes dramatically. First-line chemotherapy protocols are generally the most effective. Second- and third-line treatments often have lower success rates and more severe side effects. Doctors must balance aggressive treatment against quality of life, always mindful that the patient is not just fighting disease, but trying to maintain some semblance of normal life. For Catherine, this means treatments that won't completely incapacitate her, but also have realistic chances of success. The medical team assembled for Catherine's care represents the absolute pinnacle of British oncology. Specialists from Royal Marsden, consultants from other leading cancer centers, experts in specific treatment modalities. They meet regularly to review her case, debating approaches, considering clinical trials, exploring every possible avenue. The King's personal physicians coordinate with Catherine's team to ensure continuity of care and shared learning from both cases. This collaborative approach represents medicine at its finest, but it also underscores the seriousness of the situation. You don't assemble such a team for straightforward cases. Immunotherapy, one possible avenue being considered, represents one of the most exciting advances in cancer treatment. These therapies essentially train the patient's own immune system to recognize and attack cancer cells. For some patients, immunotherapy produces remarkable results, even in cases where traditional chemotherapy has failed. However, not all cancers respond to immunotherapy, and predicting who will benefit remains challenging. Testing Catherine's cancer cells for specific markers that indicate potential immunotherapy response has likely been part of her recent medical workup. Targeted therapy, another possibility, involves drugs designed to attack specific mutations present in cancer cells. These treatments can be remarkably effective with fewer side effects than traditional chemotherapy, but they require identifying specific genetic mutations in the cancer that can be targeted. The field of precision oncology has advanced dramatically in recent years, offering hope where previously there was little. Catherine's medical team has almost certainly performed extensive genetic sequencing of her cancer cells to identify any actionable mutations. A monarchy in transition. Today's announcement doesn't just impact the Wales family personally. It has profound implications for the British monarchy as an institution. The royal family operates on carefully choreographed schedules planned months, and often years in advance. Catherine's indefinite absence from public duties creates a gap that cannot easily be filled. As Princess of Wales and future Queen Consort, she occupies a unique position in the royal hierarchy, second only to the monarch and his consort in terms of public interest and symbolic importance. The immediate practical challenge involves redistribution of Catherine's patronages and official duties. She is patron to numerous charities and organizations, many of which were carefully chosen to reflect her interests in early childhood development, mental health, and the arts. These organizations depend on royal patronage not just for prestige, but for the fundraising advantages and public attention such relationships bring. While Catherine can remain nominal patron, the absence of her active involvement creates challenges. Other royals may take on temporary representation duties, but Catherine's personal connection to these causes cannot be replicated. State occasions present another complication. The monarchy's calendar includes numerous events where the presence of senior royals is expected. State visits, diplomatic receptions, major national commemorations. Catherine's participation in these events has become anticipated and valued. Her absence will be noted and felt. While Queen Camilla can fulfill many ceremonial functions, the absence of the younger generation represented by Catherine creates an imbalance in how the monarchy presents itself to the nation and the world. The impact on Prince William's role is perhaps most significant. As future king, he was already gradually taking on increased responsibilities. Catherine's illness accelerates this process dramatically. William must now balance being the primary public face of the younger royals, taking on both his duties and covering some of Catherine's commitments while simultaneously being present for his wife and children. It's an impossible situation that requires constant triage of priorities and acceptance that something will always be left undone. King Charles faces his own dilemma. At 76 years old and managing his own cancer treatment, he cannot simply increase his workload to compensate for Catherine's absence. The monarch's schedule is already carefully calibrated to balance constitutional duties with the need for rest and recovery. Adding significantly more engagements could jeopardize his own health. Yet, the institution requires visible royal presence. This tension between personal health needs and institutional demands highlights fundamental questions about the sustainability of the modern monarchy's operational model. Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, finds herself once again stepping up to fill gaps. Known as the hardest-working royal based on the number of annual engagements, and has quietly taken on additional responsibilities. But she is 74 years old. While remarkably vigorous and committed, there are practical limits to how much any one person can do. The same applies to Prince Edward and Sophie, who have increased their profile and workload, but cannot single-handedly make up for the absence of two of the monarchy's most prominent members. This situation has reignited discussions about the wisdom of the slimmed-down monarchy concept that Charles has long advocated. The idea, popular in theory, is that a smaller core of working royals creates a more modern, cost-effective institution. But the current crisis reveals the vulnerability of this approach. When illness or personal crisis strikes, as it inevitably does in any family, a smaller team has less capacity to absorb the shock. There's no bench of working royals ready to step in. Those who might have filled such roles have either been pushed out or never developed into working members of the firm. The constitutional implications, while not immediate, also warrant consideration. The line of succession remains clear. Charles, then William, then George. But if William must devote significant time and energy to caring for Catherine and their children, his capacity to prepare for eventual kingship is impacted. The education and training required for the role, the relationship building with government ministers, the understanding of Commonwealth dynamics. All of this requires time and focus that William increasingly lacks. There's also the uncomfortable question of succession planning should worst-case scenarios materialize. While no one wants to contemplate such possibilities, the monarchy as an institution must consider all contingencies. If Catherine's illness proves terminal, William would eventually face the prospect of being king while single and raising 3 children alone. Historical precedent exists, but modern expectations of the monarchy differ vastly from those of previous eras. The public has come to value the stable family image that William and Catherine represent. Losing that would fundamentally alter the monarchy's appeal and relevance to younger generations. Parliament and the government, while publicly maintaining respectful distance from royal health matters, privately monitor the situation closely. The monarchy's stability is considered a national interest. Any significant disruption to royal functions or succession planning has implications for Britain's constitutional order and international standing. Quiet conversations are undoubtedly occurring about contingency plans, though such discussions would never be acknowledged publicly. Public opinion, that fickle force that can make or break modern monarchy, has rallied around Catherine in ways that demonstrate her genuine popularity. Polls consistently show her as one of the most admired royals, someone who represents a successful modern interpretation of ancient traditions. Her illness has generated widespread sympathy and concern. But public patience has limits. If royal functions become noticeably diminished, if the monarchy appears unable to fulfill its symbolic and ceremonial role, questions about its continued relevance may intensify. The path forward. As the shock of today's announcement begins to settle, attention inevitably turns to what comes next. For Catherine personally, the path forward involves submitting to whatever treatment protocols her medical team recommends, knowing that each decision carries enormous weight. The balance between aggressive treatment and quality of life becomes paramount. She wants to beat this disease, but she also wants to be present and functional for her children's daily lives. Finding treatments that offer genuine hope of success, while allowing her to continue being an active mother, requires careful calibration. The next phase of treatment, set to begin in the coming weeks according to palace sources, will likely be more intensive than what Catherine has already endured. Whether this involves combination chemotherapy, immunotherapy, targeted therapy, or some combination thereof, the side effects will be significant. Managing these effects while maintaining any semblance of normal family life will require tremendous support systems. The Wales household has resources that most cancer patients can only dream of. Round-the-clock medical care, private chefs who can prepare meals tailored to nutritional needs and nausea management, household staff to handle daily tasks that become overwhelming during treatment. Yet, all the resources in the world cannot make cancer easier to bear. William's role in the months ahead cannot be understated. He must be a partner, caregiver, father, and future king simultaneously. The pressure he faces is extraordinary. Yet those who know him well say he draws strength from Catherine's example. If she can face cancer with dignity and determination, he can face the challenge of supporting her through it. Their relationship, tested as few relationships are, will either emerge stronger or buckle under the weight. All indications suggest the former. The bond between William and Catherine, forged over more than 2 decades together, appears unshakable. For George, Charlotte, and Louis, the coming months will shape their understanding of family, resilience, and mortality in ways that will impact them for life. Child psychologists emphasize the importance of age-appropriate honesty, maintaining routine wherever possible, and ensuring children know they can express their feelings without burdening their parents. The Wales family has apparently embraced this approach, having regular family meetings where the children can ask questions and express concerns. They're also ensuring that despite everything, there are still moments of joy, still family activities, still laughter. Cancer may be present in their lives, but it doesn't define every moment. The broader royal family support will continue to be crucial. Regular visits from grandparents, cousins, and other relatives provide both practical help and emotional sustenance. The royal calendar will be adjusted to allow senior royals to spend more time supporting William and the children. Some planned international trips may be postponed or reassigned. State visits might be scaled back. The institution must adapt to the reality that one of its central figures is fighting for her life. Kensington Palace communications strategy will also evolve. Today's announcement represents a shift toward greater transparency about Catherine's condition. While specific medical details will remain private, the public can expect more regular updates about her treatment and condition. This openness serves multiple purposes. It manages public expectations about her absence. It reduces speculation and rumor, and it allows the nation to feel connected to Catherine's journey. The alternative, attempting to maintain privacy through silence, has proven untenable. The timeline for any possible return to public duties remains genuinely uncertain. Best-case scenarios might see Catherine able to attend some events later in 2025, though likely in reduced capacity. More realistic projections suggest that significant public engagement won't resume until 2026 or beyond. There's also the possibility, one that must be acknowledged even if it's painful, that Catherine may never fully return to the level of royal duty she maintained before her diagnosis. This would represent a fundamental shift in how the Wales household operates and how the monarchy functions. Medical advancements offer genuine hope. Cancer treatment continues to evolve at a remarkable pace. Drugs and approaches that didn't exist 5 years ago are now standard treatments. Clinical trials offer access to cutting-edge therapies. Catherine's medical team has access to the latest developments worldwide. If experimental treatments show promise, she will be among the first to benefit. Money and royal status cannot buy guaranteed outcomes, but they do provide access to every possible tool in the fight against cancer. The spiritual dimension of Catherine's journey cannot be ignored. As future Queen and Supreme Governor of the Church of England, her faith has always been important to her. During this crisis, by all accounts, it has become even more central. Private prayers with clergy, finding solace in Scripture, the support of a faith community that spans the nation. These elements provide comfort that medicine alone cannot offer. Whether one is personally religious or not, the power of faith to sustain people through suffering is undeniable. Looking further ahead, Catherine's experience will inevitably shape her future royal work. Should she recover sufficiently to resume public duties, having faced serious illness, she will bring even greater authenticity to her mental health advocacy and support for those dealing with medical crisis. Her patronage of cancer charities, which she has supported in the past, would take on profound new meaning. She could become a powerful voice for patients navigating the healthcare system, for research funding, for the emotional support structures that families facing cancer desperately need. There's also the legacy being written in real time. Regardless of outcomes, Catherine's grace under unimaginable pressure, her determination to protect her children's well-being, her refusal to let illness define her entirely. These qualities resonate far beyond royal circles. She's demonstrating a very modern form of courage, one that acknowledges vulnerability while refusing to surrender to it. Future historians will note this period as defining not just for Catherine personally, but for how the monarchy navigated the crisis in the 21st century. The British public and indeed people around the world find themselves in the unusual position of caring deeply about someone they've never met. Catherine has achieved something remarkable. She's made the monarchy feel human and relatable while maintaining its dignity and mystique. Her illness strips away any remaining veneer, revealing the fundamental truth that royalty offers no protection against life's cruelest challenges. In facing cancer with courage and honesty, Catherine reminds us all of our shared humanity. As we move forward from today's devastating announcement, uncertainty dominates. Medical outcomes remain unknown. Timelines cannot be predicted with any confidence. The only certainties are that Catherine will continue fighting with every resource available to her. That her family will stand beside her regardless of what comes, and that a nation holds its breath hoping for positive news in the weeks and months ahead. The coming days will bring more details as the palace adjusts to this new reality. More medical appointments, more treatment decisions, more careful management of public information versus private suffering. Through it all, the focus remains where it should, on a wife, mother, and daughter fighting for her life. The titles and tiaras fade into insignificance beside that fundamental human drama. Today's announcement from Buckingham Palace marks not an ending, but a transition into a new, more uncertain phase of Catherine's cancer journey. The battle continues. The outcome remains unknown, and all we can do is hope, pray, and support from afar. As one of Britain's most beloved figures faces the greatest challenge of her life, the fairy tale romance that captured hearts worldwide now faces its darkest chapter. How this story ends remains unwritten, but the courage with which it's being lived deserves our profound respect and support.